Hey guys, and welcome back to Devil Dagger here in Gnomoria. As you can see, we're still working on trying to just move a little bit of things around. There's no one idle because of how much things we're actually moving around. We have built the armor workstation for our arms dealer to actually start making the armor plate for the armor that our soldiers are going to be wearing, as well as moving Junwan, the ambassador from Rockdirt, over to her new bedroom. This bedroom's actually worth quite a bit more. It's $1097. This one was, I think, just over $650 or something to that extent. But what we're going to do is go ahead and deconstruct this because this is in the way of our gatehouse. And I think that's going to be the main focus of this episode, is just kind of getting the gatehouse up and running. It's not going to be anything too fancy at the moment, but we're going to go ahead and lay down the foundations for it and get that going. So we're going to go ahead and tell them to remove this floor. As soon as they get that scaffolding up, it'll be ready to go. Alright, so the miners should come along and start removing that floor. Hopefully they do it in a decent fashion, that it doesn't actually trap them up there. Sometimes the AI can be a little buggy and they'll actually trap themselves in an area, so hopefully the miner can dig away at it correctly, which is not doing too bad of a job right now. Hopefully this miner doesn't mess up where the other miner left off. A few other changes I made in between episodes. I added a stockpile here, which is for the armor plates that the arms dealer is going to be made, and that's just for quick access when he actually does store the armor plates and then need them for making the armor, as well as some miscellaneous armor parts. Now, the miscellaneous armor parts I'm talking about specifically is the padding and the leather straps. The padding is made at the tailor, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. The padding is made at the tailor, and the leather straps are made at the leatherworker, which, as you can see, you can also make some leather armor, which right now I'm not going to be focusing on, but once I have our soldiers all equipped, I will be giving our regular gnomes the ability to equip that leather armor, and that's just to provide them a little bit more protection in case they do go out and start foraging out in the wilderness, or if, you know, heaven forbid, the goblins or the ogres actually break through the front gate and we need our common gnomes to actually participate in the battle. There's not too much in this bedroom right now, but like I said, it is sitting at 1,097 worth, so I'm pretty happy with that. The other ambassador that we can get from the Tormented Land, I'm not too concerned with at the moment. Once we start approaching that higher kingdom worth value, I will probably set up another bedroom for him or her. Looks like they went ahead and got rid of that floor, so let's go ahead and tell them to deconstruct the rest of this. Just tell them to go ahead and get rid of it all. It'll bring a few more supplies back to the kingdom. We'll have to replace this ground in order to, I'm trying to figure out, oh lord. Our gnomes have dug themselves a hole. That was a problem. I did not think about that. Oh lord. Okay, so the way to solve that problem without creating too much of a fuss is to go ahead and tell them to dig a hole right there. And hopefully both of our miners aren't actually... There's one miner. And who is this? That's our farmer. That's our lumberjack. So right now we are okay, but we are going to have to mine this wall, unfortunately, because I was a derp and completely forgot to take care of that. And our soldiers seem to be fighting out there, which is not what I wanted them to do at all. Alright, so they dug that ramp down. Got rid of all that, so that's good. Alright, now we're gonna make sure to replace this floor rather than remove it, because unfortunately our gnomes are being a bit derpy right now. And go ahead and tell them to build a... Actually, what we want them to do is to fill in this hole that they've left in the ground. Go ahead and tell them to fill in that hole. Hopefully it'll fix itself. And we will have to replace the 2 floors where the statues are. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. The statues have been deconstructed, and the way you can tell that is it actually tells you the quality. When you look at a statue, if it tells you the quality, then you know that you're good. So we'll tell them to remove those 2 floors there. And that will help us in filling in that hole there. Huh, can't believe the gnomes did that. But, it's my fault. I didn't tell them to do things properly, so... Blame it all on me. And as soon as I get that done, I'll tell them to go ahead and put a new floor there. And we'll tell them to dig a hole there to remove that ramp. And then to fill that hole once they're done. Hopefully somebody doesn't get trapped down there while they're trying to remove that. That would be my luck, unfortunately. Because like I said, the AI... It's a lot better than it used to be. Because back when Gnomoria was in, I think it was 9.1 or 9.0. Might have even been the 8-point version days. The gnomes would actually trap themselves quite often. Specifically when removing floors or removing roofs, which you can't actually remove a roof in this series, you can only remove floors. But it has gotten a lot better, so that's something to be thankful for, I guess. Alright, so that is finally open. We can finally start looking at how we want the gatehouse to be laid out. Now, I stated earlier that I wanted a tower right here, which I still do, and it'll kind of follow the landscape of the terrain right here, but I'm not entirely sure how that's going to fit in over here, because to be a, usual gatehouse, there'll be a matching tower on this side. So, I think the first thing we need to do is to set up the actual foundation of the rest of the gatehouse, and once we get the 3 soldiers that we have equipped with armor, we'll start work on this tower, and that's simply because we want the kingdom to be well defended. And let's see. The armor is still trying to get through everything. I made a mistake in the previous episode when I said I only needed 19 bronze bars. I actually need 38, because you need 19 armor plates for a full suit of armor. So you need 38 bronze bars for the armor to actually make the armor plates themselves. Which means you need 19 copper bars and 19 tin bars, because the recipe for bronze bars is 1 tin bar, 1 copper bar. So we'll just let our armor our arms dealer keep working on that. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and set up the foundation of our tower, or of our gatehouse here. And I don't want it to be too drastically big. I think it'll probably end right about here. So, right where that orange tree is, so we'll have to tell them to get rid of that. And then we're going to tell them to replace the floor. just so we have an outline of what we want our gatehouse to actually be. And that's a little boring in my opinion, so let's go ahead and add a little bit of character to this. And the front gate is right here, so we kind of want that to come out a little bit. Let's pause the game just so the fighting noise doesn't drive me absolutely bonkers. And so we'll come in like this and come out one more. Actually, let's go ahead and go like that. And unfortunately I don't have replace floor because it's a little bit difficult because you have to constantly change the recipe for what you want, or the material that you want rather. So we will bring that out another one, and that'll give our gatehouse a little bit of character. Just, you know, have a statue maybe sitting in this corner. And did I do that right? It looks odd, but yeah, each side has what they need. There's two over here, two over there. Okay. So it's good to go right now. So as soon as they get that set up, we'll start building the walls of the gatehouse. Add 2 more doors here. That way, if there are any intruders, they'll have to bust through this gate and then this gate to get through. So we'll set up the walls. We're almost done with that. Looks like Junwan is the only one in the Great Hall right now. Might be a little bit lonely, but, you know, might give Junwan some time to reflect and think about some negotiations. Perhaps making a permanent stay here in Devil Dagger. Who knows? Alright, so we are setting up the walls. We will also need some doors, and we're going to use some marble doors right here. Not for the fact that they're any stronger than wooden doors. The doors all have the exact same value, if I'm not mistaken. Just because it looks nicer. I also did the same thing with the ambassador's room. I gave her a marble door, and excuse me. Oh, that snuck up on me. Alright, so the gnomes are busy at work, setting up the gatehouse. And it's coming along nicely. And we'll go ahead and replace this floor. We'll use some carved floor underneath the statues that we're going to have. Go ahead and set that up. Grab the 2 statues that we want. As soon as those are set up, we will place those down. It's just to give our gnomes a brief reminder of what they are fighting for here in Devil Dagger, and to inspire fear in our enemies. Because nothing inspires fear more than a gnome, and is forever emblazoned in the glory of the stone craftsmanship of our gnomes. Put some wall torches so that at nighttime they have a little bit of light to fight. And I did change the military around. The Blazed Bakers only fight during the morning shift. The Blue Slaughterers fight in the remaining 2 shifts, and that's because in the military we went ahead and took Chase Watson out of the Blazed Bakers and put him with the other 2 soldiers. That way we have 3 soldiers training more, and depending on how many nomads we get, we might actually exchange Janid and Polyketva to be soldiers. And that's mainly just so that we have a full squad of soldiers, and then if we have 2 new nomads, we can make them farmers, because it's much easier to level up a farmer than it is to level up a soldier. It takes much longer. Not to mention, like I said, losing a farmer isn't that big of a deal. You can just set some tasks and they'll get to work. Pretty much set it and forget it type deal. But our gatehouse is coming along nicely. I will go ahead and tell them to replace these walls. Well, the walls, not the floor. And just to continue with how we want our gatehouse to be. So we'll replace those and replace that. And it's pretty pointless to try and replace this right now. Honestly, replacing this right here is pretty pointless too, but I like the way it'll look, so we'll go ahead and do that. Get things up and running. And the reason why we're keeping the wooden doors is it's mainly for an aesthetic purpose. It reminds me of a drawbridge, even though technically we can't make a drawbridge. We can make a drawbridge later using hatches if we want to, and that'll be based on a lever system. But I'm not a big fan of it, honestly. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of materials, and it doesn't provide much function. I mean, your nomads can't get in unless somebody goes and hits the switch, and it would be nice if there was a way to automate it, but the only way to really automate it is to use an animal or to trap somebody, but I don't know, in my opinion it just seems pointless to try and do that. But our kingdom is coming along quite nicely. Nice upper area that we can have, and I think I'm going to go ahead and replace this wall back here just to give us a proper wall in our kingdom, to actually give us a little bit more motivation, to give us a bit of pride, and that our gnomes can actually appreciate where their new home out here in the Devil Dagger, where things are not always certain. It might be the day that somebody passes away, such as poor Dumbledano, resting peacefully down here in the crypts. Which reminds me, I actually got the idea to go ahead and start removing this floor. One of the main reasons for that is to basically remove any chance whatsoever of having mobs being able to spawn, whether they be skeletons, spiders, beetles, because we have dug down to the -7 level, and I've had to install torches on each of these hallways just to make sure that there is no darkness. Because that's where the mobs spawn, unfortunately, except for golems. Golems spawn wherever there is a certain material just laying about. And speaking of darkness, if you go into the hotkey menu, you can actually choose where to see where there is darkness, and it'll lay out a nice red patch, which to me it just makes my eyes hurt and bleed and want to be scratched out. So we'll go ahead and turn that off. But if you did want to see where mobs would be able to spawn, that's how you do it. I'm not sure if they can actually spawn in areas that have a designation, but it might be something we want to look into. And it looks like the game autosaved for us because we're on the first day of fall. Sorry about that. Had a frog in my throat. But hopefully, we might get some new nomads, which would be a proper way to end this episode. Oh, we did get one new nomad, which is awesome. And I don't believe we have any more comments regarding who wants to join the fort, unfortunately, so that means that we're going to need a few more people to start adding their input in terms of what they actually want to see. So if anybody would like to be added to the kingdom, the colony, the fort, whatever you want to call it, just drop a comment down below and I'll be happy to add you. This gnome is currently named Windlath. It is a male. Let's look at the skills. Pretty decent gnome. Not too great in anything particularly. Great with a sword, actually. Holy crap. So I think, let's see, what kind of fighting skills do you have, Windlath? Fighting is at 12. So for right now, we'll make Windlath a farmer, but that might change eventually. Let's see here. So we'll make Windlath a farmer. If I can... There we go. And we will take one of the nomads that is currently in the squad. Let's see. Janet, it has a 67 fighting and 43 dodge, and Polykevla has 66 fighting and 46 dodge. So I think Polykevla is going to change to a soldier. And that's just because she has a higher dodge chance, which I would prefer my gnomes to actually have, because being completely honest, it's better to dodge an attack than to take the brunt of a force of attack. Not blunt. Blunt was a type of attack. But alright, it looks like we might actually have all the ingredients we need to start making some armor. So let's see, we have 19 bronze armor plates, which is very nice. Alright, well, I think that's going to do it for this episode here, guys, but in the next episode, we'll actually be making our first suit of armor, which is pretty exciting in my opinion. So, I will leave you with this nice backdrop of our gnomes just moving about the fort. Looks like there's not much work for them to do, but from everyone here in Devil Dagger, hope you guys have a great one.